that feeling,
Yeah.
that sense that the map you always used
Yeah.
suddenly points completely the wrong way.
Yeah.
Stuff that used to work, those strategies you counted on, they just aren't, well, they're not cutting it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're finding yourself, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. with that low hum of anxiety going, or just this feeling that fundamentally something's shifted.
Right, like the ground rules changed.
Exactly. And if that sounds familiar, you're definitely in the right place. Because today, we're not just rehashing stress management tips.
No, definitely not.
We're diving into this idea that maybe what we're all feeling isn't just a blip. It's like a sign that this new era needs a whole different way of thinking.
Absolutely. It's almost like the operating system of reality got an update,
Yeah.
and the old apps, they're just
Okay.
not fully compatible anymore.
Huh. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So what are we using as our guide for this?
We're going to be digging into some really, I think, potentially game-changing ideas from Vadim Zeland's book, Transurfing of Self.
Okay, transurfing of self sounds pretty deep. So for someone feeling lost in all this change, what's the absolute core idea?
The main thing, really, the kernel of it, is that getting through this new reality, it's less about forcing things externally, like pushing harder, and much more about your internal state, how you feel inside.
Okay.
Zealand basically says the old ways, the tried and true methods, they're losing their punch. And now, more than ever, it's like your state decides everything. It really puts the power back inside you.
That totally flips the script, doesn't it? Because our first instinct when things get shaky is usually to grip tighter, right?
Right.
Try to control everything through sheer effort.
Exactly. And the source material, it actually gives a great little story about this. Imagine being totally swamped at work deadlines, piling up, projects falling apart, that whole pressure cooker thing.
Oh, I can imagine that, yeah.
The natural urge is to just dive in frantically, try to fix it all. But in this story, the turning point came when the person consciously decided to just step back, to let go of that desperate need to control.
Right. And what happened?
Well, interestingly, that's when solutions started appearing, almost by themselves. The right things fell into place, but without all the struggle.
Wow. So letting go of the need to control actually unlocked the solution. That really goes against that grind harder mentality we hear so much.
It does.
So according to Zealand, what's actually causing this shift? Why are the old ways failing us?
Well, the book suggests the basic dynamics of how reality works might have actually changed. Things we used to rely on, solid plans, predictable rules, that feeling of stability for a lot of people, those feel much less certain now.
Yeah, that resonates. Things feel less predictable.
Right. And so the old approach of just pushing harder, trying to manage every single detail, Zealand says that's becoming less and less effective. It's like trying to navigate the internet with a paper map.
Okay, so it's not just us feeling weird. The actual rules might be changing.
That's the idea being presented. And Zealand uses this really powerful concept to explain it. The universe as a mirror.
A mirror. How does that work?
The basic idea is that your internal state, your main thoughts, your dominant emotions, what you truly believe deep down gets reflected back to you as your external reality. So if you're stuck in panic or fear, or you're constantly complaining about things, the universe, like an impartial mirror, just tends to show you more stuff that matches that feeling.
Okay, I see.
But conversely, if you can cultivate inner calm, confidence, a feeling of strength, you start attracting experiences that align with that state. You attract a more positive flow.
The universe is a mirror. That's quite a thought. It really shifts the focus away from blaming external things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Puts the responsibility or maybe the power back on our internal world.
Exactly. And there's another personal example in the source that makes this really clear. Someone made a conscious effort to just stop getting angry about small, everyday annoyances.
Like spilled coffee or traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of letting those little things fester and take over their internal state, they deliberately chose to just let them go. And the result wasn't just, feeling calm for 5 minutes. No, it was reportedly a more sustained experience of things just going better, feeling lighter, more positive overall. It really highlights this idea that it's our internal vibration, not just what we do, that shapes what comes back to us. Think of it like tuning a radio, adjust the inner frequency, and the outer signal changes.
So less about battling the world, more about tuning ourselves.
That's a great way to put it. The source even says, quite boldly, you are not a victim of circumstances. You are the master of your own life.
Wow.
It's not about pretending challenges don't exist, but about realizing where your real power lies. Trying to control every little external thing is exhausting, right?
Totally.
But consciously choosing your internal state, that gives you much more leverage.
Okay, so if our inner world is the key, how do we actually do that? How do
Sure.
we find that calm, that agency, especially when things outside feel totally chaotic?
Well, this is where Zelland introduces another key concept, the point of power.
The point of power. Okay, what is that?
Imagine it like an inner sanctuary, a core deep inside you that's separate from all the mental chatter and the anxiety. It's described as like the essence of you, where real freedom lives.
Like the eye of a storm.
Exactly like the eye of a storm. Even when everything's swirling around outside, there's that center of stillness. That's your point of power.
That's a comforting idea. How do we get there, though, when the storm is raging?
The source uses this scenario. Imagine everything external seems to be falling apart. Job worries, money stress, plans just crumbling.
Yeah, unfortunately relatable for many right now.
Right. But from this point of power, you manage to hold on to an underlying sense of, I'm okay. It's not pretending problems aren't there. It's tapping into a deeper resilience that doesn't depend on outside approval or circumstances.
Finding that core self that's steady no matter what.
Precisely. And there's another story about this. Someone was in a tense situation with a friend, feeling defensive, ready to argue. But instead, they consciously chose to connect with that inner calm, that point of power. And guess what? Shortly after, the friend reached out wanting to reconcile. It shows this isn't just, wishful thinking. It's a practical way internal shifts can influence external events.
It makes you wonder how often we just react automatically when choosing our internal state could change the whole interaction.
Exactly. It's about realizing you have a choice in how you respond. You're shaping your reality from the inside out, not just getting pushed around by it.
Okay, you mentioned alignment earlier. The source says the universe responds to alignment, not just desire. That feels important. Can you unpack that? Because lots of us want things, but they don't show up.
Yes, this is super crucial. Zealand suggests just wanting something, like making a wish list, isn't really enough. The universe, that mirror, responds to the state of being you embody, what you're energetically aligned with.
So it's not enough to just think, I want success.
Right. It's about cultivating the feeling of already having it. Think about tuning a radio again. You can want channel 101.5, but if your radio is tuned to 98.7, you won't hear it right. You need to align the receiver.
Ah, okay, so it's like embodying the feeling of the outcome you want now.
Yes, but it's deeper than just faking it. It's about genuinely cultivating the internal emotional state and the beliefs that go with your goal. For success, feel successful now. Operate from confidence now. For joy, be joyful now. Find those moments.
So become a vibrational match for it.
You got it. The source even mentions a personal practice. Starting the day simply affirming, everything is cool, I'm in the flow.
Just like that.
Just like that. And the reported experience is that setting that intentional inner tone often leads to the day unfolding more smoothly, more positively.
That's simple, but
Hmm.
potentially really powerful. It makes you pause and think, what internal weather am I setting for my day? Maybe without even realizing it.
Exactly. It's a good prompt for everyone listening. Just check in right now. What are you feeling predominantly? Because from this perspective, that feeling is actively drawing experiences to you.
This connects perfectly to another technique you mentioned, the no mountain technique. Love the name. What's that about?
Yeah, it's a really practical tool. The basic idea is when you see your problems as these huge, impossible mountains, well, you make them feel that way. You give them that power.
Oh yeah, I definitely do that. Stare at something until it feels completely overwhelming.
We all do. So the no mountain technique says consciously choose to see the challenge as just a road.
A road instead of a mountain.
Exactly. Think about it. A road might be long, it might be bumpy, but you can travel it, right? Step by step. A mountain, that just feels like this massive barrier. It can paralyze you.
So it reframes it from overwhelming to navigable.
Precisely. And there's a great example. Someone was feeling really nervous before a big meeting. That meeting felt like a huge mountain.
Right.
Instead of getting stuck in the anxiety, they took a deep breath, imagined this wave of inner strength, and silently told themselves, I can do anything.
That's a powerful shift.
Yeah.
From dread to capability.
Totally. And the result? The meeting went smoothly, successfully, much less stress. It shows how that internal reframing works. It's like an internal reboot, deep breath, feel that inner warmth, let go of the fear, and then you can move forward with more ease.
like dropping a heavy backpack you didn't need to carry.
Exactly. It ties into Zealand's idea that the less you load yourself down, the more comes. By ditching the mountain mindset, you make space for better outcomes. You stop blocking yourself.
Okay, this is all really fascinating, but I know people listening are probably thinking, great, but how do I actually use this stuff day to day? What can I do now?
Absolutely. Let's make it practical. The first step, according to the source, is just awareness. Start noticing when those feelings, negativity, fear, overwhelm, pop up. Just observe them without judgment. Catch yourself building those mountains.
Develop that self-awareness muscle, like an internal radar.
Exactly. And the source shares a really simple morning routine. With your coffee, just take a conscious exhale and silently repeat, I am free, for a minute or two.
I am free.
Yeah. The description is like feeling a little inner light turn up. It's a small, consistent way to set a better internal tone for the day.
That sounds very doable. A few moments, an exhale, an affirmation.
And the key thing is, this isn't about desperately chasing results. It's about getting into the flow, aligning your inner state so good things are more likely to just come to you. Zealand's big point is, you are the director, not a pawn. You get to write the script.
So the real message for everyone listening is, step into that director's chair.
Yeah.
Start making conscious choices about your inner state, because that is what writes a more compelling life story, starting today.
Absolutely. And hey, why not try one right now? The source practically invites you. Try the no mountain technique this second. Take a slow, deep breath, exhale the tension, and just silently affirm, I can do anything. Feel that shift.
It really does put the power right back in our hands, you know? Moving from that external struggle to realizing the huge potential of mastering our inner world. As we wrap up this deep dive into Zealand's ideas, I'm left thinking about something. It wasn't explicitly in our source material, but it feels connected. If the universe really is a mirror reflecting our individual states, what does that mean for our collective experience? If lots of us are feeling fear or division, what kind of shared reality does that mirror back?
That's a really big question.
Isn't it? What reality are we collectively co-creating with our dominant thoughts and feelings? Definitely something to chew on as we navigate, well, whatever comes next.